think he would drop that far.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But once they start falling, then it's just But I think that was all because of when he came, when you decided to draft him, you knew what you were going to get, and they didn't want all that attention. The organizations, they said, we don't want this, we don't want that. Now, hey, and people say, well, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. It matters this way because the bonus you get when you're a first-round pick compared to a fifth-round pick, you never make up that money. So now, and he'll eventually, he'll be a starter and all that. Eventually, hopefully that really works out for him. But at the end of the day, man, it was like me being a free agent. I didn't get drafted.
Right.
That money I could have been drafted. Okay, I never see that money.
Shedeur Sanders supporters, you won't believe what veteran coach Herm Edwards just revealed about the Browns quarterback picture. This is the same man who mentored Jayden Daniels and spent decades in the NFL. And he just dropped a revelation that has Browns Nation either buzzing with excitement or shaking their heads. Edwards didn't just drop hints. He flat out declared that Shedeur will secure the Browns' starting QB role. Before we dive deeper, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of this unfolding QB drama. And once you hear his logic, you'll see why this might be the most straightforward prediction of the year. But it's not solely about Shedeur's skill. It's tied to something much deeper that few people have discussed. Stay with me because what Edwards exposed about rookies going up against veterans could completely reshape your perspective on Cleveland's quarterback battle. I've kept a close eye on Shedeur since his days at Colorado, and I'll be honest, this kid has always possessed that undeniable IT factor. But hearing Herm Edwards, a coach who's worked alongside talents like Jayden Daniels, Joe Montana, and Chad Pennington, say it hits differently. Edwards didn't claim Shedeur would merely contend, he insisted he's going to win. And the way he laid it out makes such perfect sense it's almost unsettling. In their conversation, Edwards explained why Shedeur slid in the draft, and it had nothing to do with ability. His words, "I think the Deion factor, that bravado, that's why teams kind of went, we don't want this." In other words, Edwards believes franchises shied away from the spotlight that comes with Shedeur and his father, Deion Sanders. But here's the kicker. The Browns weren't fazed. They saw value where others saw potential headaches. And Edwards believes that's exactly why Shedeur will come out on top. Edwards also revealed his stance on rookies versus veterans. If it's even with you and a rookie, I'm going to play the rookie. You almost have to because all you, the veteran, have is experience. That's it. Think about that. If Shedeur and Joe Flacco are neck and neck during camp or preseason, Edwards says you go with the rookie because you already know the veteran's ceiling. The rookie, he offers untapped upside. And for a franchise like the Browns, not pegged as a Super Bowl contender this season, investing in a future star makes far more sense than leaning on a 39-year-old journeyman. What stuck with me most was Edwards' philosophy for easing young quarterbacks into the league. He recalled starting Jayden Daniels as a true freshman and telling him, "You got one read, maybe two. If the second guy isn't open, run, protect yourself, slide, get out of bounds. Don't worry about the third read until maybe your third year." That's precisely the kind of simplified, strengths-focused plan Shedeur needs in Cleveland, rather than being buried under a complicated scheme too soon. Edwards knows exactly what Shedeur can do, and his prediction isn't hype, it's conviction. Edwards emphasized that the bond between coaches and players, especially rookie quarterbacks, is critical. Trust, communication, and mutual understanding outweigh everything else. If Cleveland's staff builds that connection with Shedeur, Edwards envisions him surpassing expectations, just as Jayden Daniels did, going from freshman starter to rookie of the year and playoff regular. Now, let's talk about that Deion factor. Edwards acknowledged that teams looked the other way because of the media frenzy tied to Shedeur's surname. But honestly, the Browns are no strangers to controversy. Bringing in Shedeur could finally give them a positive rallying point. When was the last time this franchise had real electric energy surrounding it? Shedeur delivers that spark, the must-see factor they've been missing for years. And there's another layer, motivation. Edwards brought up the financial angle. Shedeur lost millions by going in the 5th round rather than the 1st. That type of snub fuels certain players in dangerous ways, in the best sense possible. I've seen Shedeur when he's underestimated. He proves doubters wrong every single time. Pair that with his natural ability and relentless drive, and Edwards believes it's only a matter of time before he claims the QB1 spot. Another point that stuck out from Edwards was this: players know who the good players are. You can't disguise talent. In practice, in the film room, and in the locker room, if Shedeur has it, his teammates will see it. And once a roster starts to believe in their new leader, the dynamic shifts fast. Locker rooms have a way of deciding for themselves who they trust to lead them into battle. I get it. Some might say this is overly bullish, that rookie quarterbacks rarely walk into starting jobs and succeed right away. But when a respected figure like Herm Edwards essentially guarantees Shedeur will take the job, it's worth paying attention. Edwards isn't known for splashy, baseless predictions. His words carry weight because they're grounded in decades of coaching, scouting, and reading locker rooms. Even if Shedeur doesn't start in week 1, Edwards frames it as inevitable, more a matter of when than if. And when you start connecting the dots, it's hard to disagree. The Browns invested a draft pick knowing exactly who Shedeur was, what spotlight he brings, and what ceiling he might hit. That's not a move you make for a long-term backup. From everything I've gathered so far, the signs are there. Teammates curious to see what he can do, coaches intrigued by his maturity and poise, and a city desperate for fresh hope at quarterback. The Browns' current situation isn't about leaning on the safest option. It's about finding the guy who can finally lift the franchise from its endless cycle of mediocrity. And if Edwards is right, Shedeur isn't just the best option for the Browns. He's the obvious one. So Browns fans, are you ready? If Herm Edwards is on the money, we're about to witness something special. A young quarterback with limitless potential, a point to prove, and a coaching staff willing to believe in him. That's as close to a winning formula as you'll find in today's NFL. For Cleveland, this could finally be the turning point, a chance to secure a true franchise quarterback after years of cycling through short-term fixes. The excitement Shedeur brings isn't just about flashy throws or his famous last name. It's about belief. Belief that the Browns can actually build around a player who wants to be the guy and has the mentality to back it up. If Edwards' prediction holds true, the coming season won't just be about wins and losses, it'll be about laying the foundation for something bigger. A leader the city can rally behind, a locker room can respect, and opponents have to account for every Sunday. And for those still skeptical, just remember, players know who the real players are. If Shedeur shows it in practice, in meetings, and under the lights, the team will follow. The rest of the league will notice soon enough. If you've enjoyed this insight and want more updates on Shedeur's rise, stick around, because this is only the beginning of what could be Cleveland's next great football story. So don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin.